It's a beautiful morning wherever you may be. It's a warm welcome to Sunrise Teledal, coming to you live from our studios at Britsville Phase 1. I'm Tijan Jani, and as usual, with me I have Michael Howard. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Mr. Jani. It's another beautiful opportunity and experience to be seated here to share a breakfast with you and with our viewers out there in several quarters of the Gambian society and outside of the Gambia. It's great to be here, and I'm very humble.
Well, unfortunately, this morning I didn't have my best breakfast because that one is porridge.
Oh, okay.
With, with yogurt.
Okay,
I prefer that. Or what they call tiakereturo.
Oh, that's a strong one, though. I was opportune to have
Sadiga sausage.
No, that one is that one is strong. But I was opportune to have burunyebe this morning.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but I look forward to the other breakfast. This is the best one that we need to have this morning together.
I quite agree with you.
Let's get started.
Let's get started.
Yeah.
So basically, we'll be looking at the newspapers and, of course, Forex, that's the foreign exchange rate, and happenings in the Gambia. Today also we'll be looking at the involvement of artists in politics based on their latest relics that they have published. Well, that plus some other happenings in the Gambia. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Every time you buy credit or data, that's a speed and win waiting on your My AfriCell app. 50 megabytes, 100 megabytes, 5 gigabytes of internet data. Tanga. Credit or data purchases, speed and win rec. AfriCell and AfriMoney, where loyalty pays and the fun never fades.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the Sunrise coming to you live from our studios. Michael, let's kick start Thursday morning Sunrise.
To our viewers out there, we say once again, you're welcome to the show this morning. And I have with me here a Voice newspaper, and key on the headlines says, President Adam Barrow urges strong commitment to democracy and rule of law. PPP flag bearer Sekou Saho withdraws from party partnership. The Gambia's chief tax collector calls for strong partnership in African tax administrations. UDP, that's the United Democratic Party, insists on parties-led coalition ahead of all 2026 elections. The Gambia seeks diplomatic support for ICC judicial candidate. Gambia Nasheed artist expresses gratitude to Q Group and QTV for career support. Those are the stories we have here, and we will want to look at a few of those stories in details. And we'll look at the first one that talks about President Adam Barrow calling for stronger commitment to democracy and rule of law.
Meanwhile, if we have the newspaper front page, can Zaina just the Voice newspaper? Yes, thank you. All right, thank you. We can go ahead, Mickey.
Yes, quickly. President Adam Barrow on Wednesday called on citizens and state institutions to strengthen the country's democratic foundations by upholding the rule of law, accountability, and the independence of public institutions. Speaking at the opening of the Tripartite Conference on the Commonwealth Latima House Principles at the Sadauda Karawajawara International Conference Center, President Barrow says the country's democratic progress depended on maintaining a balance between the executive, legislature, and judiciary. The 3-day conference is held under the theme Upholding the Rule of Law and the Democratic Balance, a tripartite engagement on Latima House principles in the Gambia. President Barrow says the Latima House principles provided an important framework for safeguarding judicial independence, accountability, governance, and respect for the rule of law. And we look at the PPP flag bearer Sekou Saho withdraw from a party leadership. This is a very interesting one. We need to look at that. The flag bearer of the People's Progressive Party, PPP Sekou Saho, has formally withdrawn his Golden Era Party from its partnership with PPP, citing loss of confidence in the arrangement. In a withdrawal letter issued on Wednesday, Saho thanks the PPP leadership executive members, and supporters for the opportunity to work together, while acknowledging their contribution towards their shared objective of building a better Gambia. After a careful reflection, however, I regret to inform you that the Golden Era Party is officially withdrawing from the People's Progressive Party with immediate effect. He said the decision was driven by several considerations, including what he described as a loss of confidence in the partnership due to alleged hypocrisy by some of PPP executives and members over the proposed alliance with the United Democratic Party. Saho says the PPP leadership had established a central coalition committee comprising himself, the PPP leader, and other party executive to oversee alliance discussions. He maintained that the PPP leader was kept informed throughout the negotiation and that no engagement with political parties took place without his knowledge or approval. According to Saho, the proposed alliance agreement was drafted by the PPP policy director and negotiations were conducted in a good faith under the authority provided by the party's leadership. We fully respected the party's constitutional processes, will neither baptize nor interfere with the various consultative stages required before the formal execution of the alliance agreement, he says. The Golden Era Party leader also clarified that his participation in a UDP press conference on a supplementary voter registration exercise was unrelated to the proposed alliance agreement. He says concerns over the omission of the eligible voters from the registration process were matters affecting the integrity of the country's democracy and should concern all Gambians, regardless of political affiliation. That was his position. And one of the stories I want us to look at also is the UDP's persistence or insistence on a party-led coalition ahead of our 2026 presidential election. It says the opposition United Democratic Party, UDP, has reiterated its support for a party-led coalition ahead of the 2026 presidential election, warning that it could withdraw from ongoing coalition negotiations if participating parties reject its proposal. Speaking at Kerfatu's Politics Culture program on Tuesday, UDP Deputy Administrative Secretary for External Affairs, Lami Mane, says the party will not support a coalition arrangement that did not reflect the electoral strength of participating political parties. He argued that the coalition leadership should be determined by the relative electoral support of each party, maintaining that smaller opposition parties should rally behind the largest opposition party rather than expect it to follow them. Referring to the 2021 presidential election, Mane says the UDP secured about 238,000 votes, significantly more than any other opposition parties, and questioned calls for the party to relinquish the coalition leadership. He also criticized the candidate-led coalition model, arguing that it created challenges following the opposition's victory in the 2016 presidential elections. According to Mane, requiring the then-coalition candidate Adama Barrow to resign from the UDP and contest as an independent candidate weakened the parties despite its status as the coalition's largest political force, he says.
All right. I think so far so good. Quite interesting. And then if we look at the Standard newspaper, well, they share similar stories. PPP, GEP split over proposed alliance with the United Democratic Party, and all three arms of government met on democratic governance. Virtually, police say man found living in the forest is mentally unstable, not active. That is one of the stories we dealt with on the Tuesday. Yeah. And then we'll come to look at some of these things. And I'm going with the Foria newspaper this morning, Thursday, the 23rd of July. Lalo Baji of Somita claims ownership of Canal Village, says land belongs to his grandfather. Well, I think with the Foria so far, this is the main headline.
Okay.
Wow. It's funny, right?
It's funny and interesting at the same time.
Well, Lalo Baji of Somita claiming that his grandfather owns Canal Village, and there is sort of a dispute, except that Mr. Lalo Baji should provide
I think
at least document of the village
we have to
that
look
he
at
inherited from his grandfather.
It's funny. It's funny. How can one person own an entire village? In a shorter possible time, he might say that's his own country, though.
Yeah, of course.
But you have to look at the historical findings of his allegation and be looked at critically. But it's strange and it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the same. No disregard to historical.
No, but my question is, I mean, owning this village, so what next? Are the people going to pay rent?
As a landlord.
Duties?
As a landlord.
As
I
a
don't
landlord?
know if you own a village, how do they call it? Do they call
you have the right to allocate lands or sell piece of lands, and because for me anyway, probably he should be the chief or the alcalo of that place. But I'm sure that government will look into this issue and then they will trace it out. Yeah,
that's their sole responsibility, to look into land disputes and then find a lasting solution to that. You know. Yeah. Well, the PPP-GEP split is making rounds on social media, and how do you see the whole divorce between these two political parties as we are now rolling towards December? I think the interesting thing is that the incubator for President Adama Barrow will be laying back wherever he is and looking at events of that nature, you know, and smiling, because we're drawing closer to the election, just like you put it. And if there is any progress that should be made so that the opposition political parties put up a very good fight come 5th December, it has to be done now. But if you look at the side of what's happening now with the golden era, the guys, he used the term hypocrisy in the alliance proposal, so to speak, but he did not go into the content of what he described as hypocrisy. That means the implied understanding is that there must be some of the lines or some of the clauses that actually do not align with what he wants or what he desires. And like we always say, politics is about interest. So once you notice that your interest is being compromised, then you find an escape route. That's what is happening here. You look at a coalition arrangement again with the UDP. That's another story, but I don't want to jump the gun. When we get there, we're going to discuss that. But this is a beautiful opportunity for the incubator for President Adama Barrow to be hearing tones of separation between and amongst political parties, lack of alliances. You're going to be clapping. Because it is only, considering the Gambian democratic space, it is only the decent, well-strategized coalition that can, contest and compete formidably against any incumbent in this country. Well, the disparities between the opposition political parties should not serve, as a cushion for the NPP just to relax and then think once these people fail to come together, it means automatic guarantee ticket for them to win the 2026 presidential election. No. I think all what they need to do, and as we've seen, the president is focused and, he's working towards his project and at the same time also, engaging in some political activities, because they also need to work very hard. There is no room for complacency. Not at all. Because you never know. Politics is all about convenience. We can go up to the last minute and all the opposition decide to drop their differences and then come together. And then it becomes a big problem for the ruling party. So what the NPP needs to do is to continue working on grassroots politics, because that's where the base is, right? Of course. It's not only about talking on platforms and stuff like that, or, just like I mentioned, leaning and then, thinking that without the opposition coming together, that means an automatic win. Probably, I'm sure they're quite aware of that. Yeah, I agree with you entirely, but I'm not sure that the NPP is sitting down, relaxing and feeling like it's an easy ride. Mind you, they have a very strategic strategy in place. If you look at the Mansakunda... And it's a well-structured party anyway. Of course. If you go to the Mansakunda, you see these ministers for different ministries lining up and then justifying their ministries, to the masses. And then the media has an opportunity, the masses have an opportunity to question these people based on the progress they've made. At the same time, those opportunities are used to highlight the lapses of those ministries. What does it do? That's why we say criticism is the most important tool to overhaul any democratic engine. So if you go over there, you watch the questions that are posed to those various ministers in their respective ministries, and you watch the documentaries of the progress they've made, that's a marketing strategy. That's a selling point for the people. And the questions that are posed, acknowledgements of their lapses, is an opportunity for them to up their games. So once they leave that hall and get back to their respective ministries and take note of the errors or the lapses that have been highlighted by the masses, they step in to fill in those gaps. So I think the NPP-led administration of President Adama Barrow is they're aware of what's going on. They've got a strategies in place. I am not a pro-NPP or pro-Barrow, but I'm a pro-truth and pro-objective. So you have to look at the facts. They are up in their games, and I don't expect an easy ride come 5th December, but I think that the guy stands a very massive chance if the opposition do not see the need to come together collectively in terms of ideas and move into the corners of the countries and then share the manifesto and convince the Gambian people that they are best suited to be given a month of authority to steer the affairs of this nation. We are seeing an Adama Barrow terror time.
And going back to the UDP threatening that they can pull out of the talks if the other parties fail to come on board with the UDP's candidacy. The question that comes into my mind, why not make this thing clear from day one? Mm-hmm. Why months in, months out of discussion when you actually know that this is going to be your position or this is your position?
Mr. Janet, I think you wouldn't be treating the UDP with justice if you say that why don't make this thing clear from the day one? Because if there is one party that has been consistently consistent with their statement, is the United Democratic Party. Okay. If you ask the least supporter from whether Janjambure or Kalimu village in Fonyi or Fonyi Bondali or whatever, if you ask an average UDP supporter, they tell you that any coalition arrangement that is to take place will start being led by the UDP leader. It's already an exercise in futility. They've never, ever compromised that position. But this is politics. Even though you have a stance, you have a position, it doesn't have to be authoritatively stated. Because when you do that, mind you, the single vote is what changes the dynamics of the state. Your single vote is what produces another president of this country. If you hear that the last election, 2021, UDP had 238,000 votes, the 236,000 votes started with a single vote. So every single individual, don't look at the size of the party, value and respect every conversation on that table. Do not refer to them as smaller parties. When you are on a negotiation table for coalition, if you start to tag a party that's small party, even though they are, but pointing it in their faces as they are small or minute in the numbers, you're creating discomfort. And every man has ego. All of the parties have their respective manifestos and leadership. If they pull out, you need them. You need every single person. So in as much as you have a position, you do not authoritatively design that. You can say, let's come on the table. What do you have? Who's the candidate you want to lead this coalition? Let's scrutinize them based on the manifesto, based on what they bring in the conversations as far as the political mortgage market is concerned in the Gambia. Then level-headed people sit together and have a conversation, have a committee that vet the respective parties' leaders. And then at the end of the day, people who reason, because somebody says that the height of a man is not from the head to the toe. The original height of a man is from the head to the sky. That is how well you reason.
I agree.
How well you reason
I love that expression.
Of course, how well you reason makes you a taller man, and how limited you reason makes you a shorter man. So don't tag people. Smaller parties, we have the number, we must produce the head. That is not the way to go. That is not the language. It's about the numbers. We know that in politics. But you don't sound authoritative.
But one thing I can also authoritatively say is this. In any coalition that UDP will join, without Usainu Dabo, forget about it.
It's an exercise in futility.
Any other candidate that they put forward to lead the coalition, and that is not Usainu Dabo,
It won't sell.
it will not sell.
It will not sell. That we're saying the same thing, Mr. General.
Yes,
All I
it
am
will
saying,
not sell.
all I am saying, you know,
Really?
you can have a PhD holder in a classroom teaching maybe mathematics or English language or phonetics or whatever discipline. But if he lacks the right classroom methodology, classroom management, he'll be standing on the board for 2-3 hours and teaching himself without the students understanding anything. What am I trying to say? The language is my imposition. Politics is about a number anywhere around the world.
Yeah, of course.
It's also about ideas and ideas. But what we're saying is that you do not point into the faces of these parties their position, even though they know. You are too small to lead. We have the numbers to lead. It should be about ideas. Look, Usainu Dabo has what it takes to lead this party. Give us the facts. Give us evidential. Give us historical findings.
Yeah, he has been around for over 20-something years.
That should be the point of argument, and not tagging the people as too small. If you no, when you do that, you create political discomfort.
But let's see. I think on the 8th or on the 10th, they will come out and then tell us who's going to lead the coalition. Yes. Anyway. That is that, and now
it's interesting.
It's interesting,
very interesting. I enjoy this nation's politics. Yeah, so beautiful.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It is. But you see, the beautiful thing about our politics is now we are seeing that high degree of maturity, from the stakeholders and from all the the players. Yeah. And I think honestly we need to commend our politicians for that. It is both on the government side and then as well,
Mr. General,
as the opposition.
That is the catalyst of democracy. That's what democracy does. When people are at liberty to express themselves without looking on the shoulders to see who's coming to arrest them or to hit them, so to speak, you see ideas popping up. You see logic. So that's the beauty of democracy. I'm not surprised. The high sense of political maturity is what the Gambian people fought for back in 2016. And come 2026, it's going to be a very beautiful political battlefield, and I can't wait to see it get started.
and I'm convinced that so many African countries can come learn,
They are already learning.
They don't
need to come.
They don't need
we have the internet space. You can learn from anywhere around the world.
Actually, we have a beautiful democracy.
It's beautiful.
In this country, honestly speaking.
I was telling someone, during campaign period in this country, I hail from Africa's oldest republic, and I know how election campaign period looks like back home in Liberia. But in the Gambia, it's verbal. It's about ideas. You don't see that massive, physical force applied and so on. In my country, you're going to see blood in some places. You're going to see nasty fight. Sorry for the language. It's terrific. Go to Nigeria. It's crazy. Go to Cameroon. It's great. You know the story. You don't need to travel to this nation to see. But that's the beauty of the game. At the end, they say, well, you're benale. Need more garaba. Now you munta.
That's how they say. Nenla.
You understand? It's beautiful. It's rigid in other nations. It's crazy in other countries. But it's beautiful.
Just remind you that you're still watching Sunrise, coming to you from Teledal TV, live from our studios at the Bruce Bay Phase 1. Next, we'll look at the foreign exchange rate from the Central Bank of the Gambia. Well, as you've seen, the US dollar stands at $71.92 butts, and the 1 euro is about $84.96 butts, and the pound is $98.61 butts. The Swiss franc is $92.40 butts. The Canadian dollar is $51.15 butts, and the CFA is $636.50 butts. Well, that's it. We now go for our second break. When we return, we now look at happenings in the Gambia.
You can now turn your loyalty points into data or voice bundles. Simply dial *772#, press 1 to check how many points you've got, press 2 to redeem those points. Recharge on AfriCell, buy credit on AfriMoney, buy cash power. Lord Efrek, you get points. Even when you redeem, your total points still stack up, giving you a chance to win one of 2 luxury AfriCell villas. AfriCell, 25 years of rewarding loyalty, and we're just getting started.
Welcome back. But you can also follow us on our social media handles, the Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, as well as Instagram. Subscribe, share, and then like as well. That is one way to patronize our program. But of course, those who are also in business, you can partner with us so everybody will know that you are in business, right? And then, Michael, for the past couple of months, the issue of crime rate in the Gambia has been the agenda on the table for most people, including government, civil society, and of course the population. The scary part of it is that we are not used to this rate of crimes, where especially you have the involvement of young people. But despite that fact, we have our security forces who are doing all their best in order to curb the rising rate of crimes in this country. We'll now go with the Gambia Police Force, and then they will bring us up to date as some of the activities they're doing in order to curb crimes in the country.
What the services need to contribute, they have to contribute it, and contribute it towards ensuring that we are able to achieve our targets. Not to be present only for crimes to be committed. Our presence must have that impact so that we minimize the happening. And this is possible. All right, with this number within this region, I want to believe the people of West Coast are assured that there is going to be security. It's very encouraging. And the fact that he is leading, giving you the actual briefs, this is what we expect. For people to be effective, the communication must be clear. If we are not communicating, we are not giving you what you need. We cannot just bring you here and say, go. We have to tell you what we actually want. And what we want is effective patrols. Target areas of interest. If arrests are made, please let's have the teams to screen. If people are arrested and the issues have to do with immigration, let that individual be handed over to the immigration. But let immigration also do the needful. All right? If it is about aliens, let's ensure that those people are able to pay aliens. And returns are brought back to this task force. And the task force will be able to generate reports. And these reports will come to us, and we will be able to feed the National Security Council. If it is about crime, the police must be able to process case files, and the case files are taken to court, and the results is brought back to this same group team, and it gets to us by way of reports, and these reports are filtered. Makes life easy. If it is about drugs, it is given to the drug squad, and the drug squad do what they are supposed to do, and the reports come back. From the region, everything has to do with this region. And the coordinator is the police. So just make sure you collate everything and then send it. We don't want to talk against each other, but we have to report facts. Facts, no creation. That's why I'm asking. Because we've already agreed on this. The contribution must be. If you don't do it, let that be flat.
Thank you very much, Michael. You've had, this is the Joint Security Forces that normally goes out to patrol, especially at hot spots. When we say hot spots, we mean places where normally crimes are being committed. And then you can see some of the efforts that they are doing. And then, yes, they are overwhelmed, but nonetheless, we also need to commend them for a job well done.
Yes, I must say that the securities are doing their level best. But one thing that has remained a common phenomenon in the African democracy is the issue for being reactive instead of being proactive. If you look at the rate at which crimes have been committed, is becoming a common phenomenon weekly that you hear about the issue for someone stabbing another, or fights or bottles or, different crimes have been committed on a weekly basis in this country, and it was never like that some times back. There are no doubts that the current leadership is doing massive strides in several ramifications, but one of the challenges that has remained is the issue of crime rate. And I think what the security can do, the police and all different security apparatuses of the state, is to do a survey between and amongst the perpetrators of these crimes and get to have historical findings of the activities of these young people. What are luring them into commit such crime? For example, if you leave from here today, you went to the Kololi Tavern area, you see young Gambians, males and females, in their 17, 18, 16, as low as 15.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Abusing drug all over the place. And you want to be asking yourself this question. Most of the drugs that have been abused are not grown in this country, so to speak. And then what is happening to the various ports of entries of this country? You want to be asking yourself with the custom officers at the border lines. You want to be asking yourself with the immigration officers at the border lines and all of the different security apparatuses at the various ports of entries of this country. How do these drugs find their way into the country? You need to go to the root of the issue, because somebody said that a chick that will grow into a cock can be known at the very day it hatches from egg. So all of the crimes that have been committed, there are root causes of this crime. You need to do the survey of security apparatus. Get to know the root causes. What are frustrating young people that are making it to abusing drugs? Because a normal Gambian that I know, their fights are all verbal. For one person to take a knife or take a cutlass or take an object to stab the next person to death, that's something that is alien to Gambian culture. And to have woken up from bed and then you see high rates of crimes all over the place, there are factors responsible for that. Perhaps it can be traced to frustration of young people, maybe in as much as government is doing her level best to ameliorating unemployment rates, she's still got to do more in ensuring that young people are busy, they are occupied, there are training opportunities in terms of vocational training opportunities for young people that are not academically very bright, so that they are busy, because an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
I agree with you. The last time we talked about this idea of having a national dialogue.
Yes.
A national dialogue where we have to engage the stakeholders themselves, that is the young people.
Of course.
Because for me, dialogues that have been conducted or convened at the hotels, and for me,
no,
the impact is really minimal.
It's small.
Right? Because the thing is, people want to be listened to.
Of course.
And this is the opportunity that you have to create. Because when we say dialogue, I mean, we don't expect people to come with scripts and start reading. Young people, this is what government is doing, what you are doing is... No. Let us create the platform where we will do more of listening than talking.
That is it.
Once we have a national dialogue where we virtually hand over the platform to the stakeholders, which are the young people, there will be a way out.
There will be a way out. I agree.
Because for me, I think we are trying to solve their problem when we don't actually know what is the problem.
What is the problem?
So now we have to listen to young people to fully digest
what their concerns are.
What their concerns are. Why are some of these things going out of hands? And based on that, we can now draw up policies, we can now draw up programs to reinforce what is already in place. Because yes, of course, we have policies and programs that is geared towards young people. But for me, the other approach is we should now do more of listening
than talking.
So that will allow us to either rewrite or either adjust our policies and programs to meet their needs.
I agree with you entirely. You cannot make laws to government without my participation in a conversation. There's going to be conflict.
Yeah.
If I am not part and parcel of the conversations on policies that are going to have positive trickle-down effects on my life, how do I adhere to those laws? So the national dialogue must be decentralized, not just people seated, like you put it, in a five-star hotel in Banjul or the Caribbean Beach Hotel or the flashy places and people go home with 4 envelopes. No, have a think tank Government must sit on a table, have the right kind of Gambians that are level-headed, who understand these conversations, veterans that have been in the security sector, that have retired, bring them on board, have consultation with these people, get to understand what are some of the overwhelming root causes of our crimes. You take note of this conversation, go into the communities, have a team that goes to all of the different quarters of this nation, the different regions of this nation, and then have a one-on-one with the people in the language they understand, not big vocabularies, so that the concerns are raised. They highlight some of the root causes of these crimes, making young people to be lured into crime, so to speak. Come back in Banjul, analyze all of the data, and then implement the right policies. Another thing, if certain crimes are committed, and you know that there's a high-profile crime, the security apparatus, the judicial system as well, these cases should not last at the police. It should be taken to court, and then the prosecution take place. And if somebody is found guilty of these offenses, it becomes now the position of the media also to publicize, to go back to those, the historicity of those crimes that were committed. And once a perpetrator has been found guilty and not exonerated, the story should be out there in the public for people to know, oh, 2 months ago or a week ago, this person was involved in social crime, and the police or the court has found him guilty, and he's been sentenced for 5-6 years. When the conversations are displayed in the public space, it's going to serve as a wake-up call for people who are potentially thinking about committing such crime, because they know that the falling of dried leaves is a warning to the new ones that one day they will fall to.
Yeah, of course. You know, the other time I made mention of this. The police and even our border security personnel are doing all what they can, right, to fight against trafficking of drugs, trafficking of human beings and all whatnot. But like I said, they've been they're overwhelmed. So and government alone can't handle this entire. They cannot foot the entire bill to provide everything that the security needs.
I agree.
For me, that is where the citizens also have to step in, because we are now talking of a couple of months to go for the elections, and now we're seeing even political parties buying luxurious cars.
You can see that again.
Motorcycles in hundreds. Come on.
I saw some of a very powerful SUV, very powerful one.
I don't have a problem you buying vehicles for elections, motorcycles for elections, but can't we also support our security? Cool. What is wrong with giving them part of the motorcycles that you are using for the campaign? Cool. I mean, that's my I may say it's a silly idea, but
no, you are not.
I think the police really need, they need that logistic support from each and every one in this country, from government, from NGOs, from the business community, from philanthropists. We need to support them.
Of course, I agree with you entirely. You are not in error at all. I subscribe to what you said 100%. And then that's where the positions of the electorates come in. Mind you, if you are not there, you can never tell how it feels like. And I agree, the security apparatus are doing their level best. They have been reactionary, really doing their level, kudos to them. They're formidably doing their level best. But then that is now where the positions of the voters come in. You're going to be seeing multiplicity of political parties coming for the same ticket, the presidency. That is the highest seat in this nation's politics. Scrutinize these politicians on their manifesto, on the 3 C's in leadership, on their character, on their competence, and their capacity to serve you. Scrutinize them, because every citizen has a responsibility to complement the effort of national government in the attainment of our national development objectives. The Gambia belongs to all Gambians. It is not the sole responsibility of the police to protecting the community. That's why the people in Brikama, when they saw a man who looked uneasy, they called on the security apparatus to go and search. When they search, they realize that he's mentally challenged. That is the position of the community. Community policing is crucial. It's crucial. So we all have to do it together. It is our collective responsibility, including non-Gambians that are residing in this country. Because if this country goes into chaos, astagfirullah, it would never happen. It affects all of us. So don't say, okay, I'm a Liberian, I'm a Nigerian. It's none of my business. No.
It is
if you observe,
it's everybody's business.
It's everyone's business. If you experience or observe any uneasy behavioral pattern at the level of the community, get the security apparatus involved right away. Let them do the survey. Let them investigate. If the person is perceived to have been associated with crime, then take the person for the investigation. If they should be exonerated, let them be exonerated, and they go their way. That is how we solve this issue. You can't leave it to government alone. That's an error.
Yes, because if we fold our hands and then believe that government should handle everything, then it's a big mistake on our side. And we remind you that this is the Sunrise. We are live on the Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. You can subscribe, like, and then share. And in our subsequent programs, we'll also be reading some of the comments from from our social media platform, especially on Facebook, and of course on TikTok as well. If you share, if you have a strong observation or you want to contribute to the program, you can write to us, and then surely we will read your comments, your observations on our platform. Michael, we are still staying on politics. Next, we're going to look at, you know, it's interesting now that even our artists, they're now jumping into politics in one way or the other. But like I said, it's all about the beauty of democracy. Now, let's look at two artists and see their latest clips, and we'll come back right away.
Sakilo jamano man dunia bang anasa menka buka dunia bang man sakilo jamano man dunia bang anasa menka buka dunia bang no ulole bu ikanenele ulole nyul kanenele ulole bu ikanenele fatul malo nyul kanenele na bankundin de fo jakalo kan papa chile ka fo kuchakalo fo nyimali jakaliba yesidin ja mutajanna be sataro si fatam fanso kasaro nimingo kurukuru jambo e alama alayal fry logo jalo na jamme mbalu be deri la jamme kutubole ka fo tiyata chojol fanar be deri be uruba kensanda banko be kasaro adisol ko tala petaro rim birinja wala jamano na sabis manol be do ko la kane kabi mam bunjangolono Kari killing, kari fula, minister bunjambado, office kono si ba kense, luon la kachepe lu pempe, kari o kara kolifo, Dakar silo la katente, fele kayole ka sista lu pempe, Gambia na sino kula na wuli, mansa kilo wa jamano man dunia bang, anasa menka buka dunia bang. Nimbaronte jumalo, nimbaronte jumalo, nimbaronte jumalo. Urgamia Allah fonye, ininkari le benteda. Kata 2016, birale coalition no form. Urukaya yame bondi, opposition olbe kambenta. Ilanya tongolbe bije, moman la vike coalition no. Nyatongaya, iko babil mansake mo faleke. Iko babil mansake mo faleke. Inatine barota mbindi. Urna manson kata asate fa. Nimbaronte jumalo, nimbaronte jumalo, nimbaronte jumalo. Urgamia Allah fonye, nimbaronte jumalo, nimbaronte jumalo, nimbaronte jumalo. Urgamia Allah fonye, baroko nalmukut alsuka, baroko nalmukut alsuka, baroko nalmukut alsuka, alsuka, alsuka. Baroko nalmukut alsuka, baroko nalmukut alsuka, baroko nalmukut alsuka, alsuka, alsuka.
Well, thank you very much. Well, these two video clips, one by Nyancho and the other one by One Park, actually is quite interesting because people are really talking about it. when Nyancho released the video clip Wulolo means liars, a whole, let me say, people were divided, right? Some believe that, you know, the song is okay because all what he's saying is something that is happening.
Okay.
And you have another camp that are saying, you know what, fine, he has the right to sing, to produce music, but the problem is the language, the choice of words, his diction. So many people felt it was, it is offensive because, you know, you're now talking about responsible people, and then you now saying some
foul
languages, and, you know, it has to, you know, it somehow look like a character assassination. And then for the others, you know what, it's okay.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, we now see, in fact, he's my artist. I just like one part.
One part.
And one part just jumped in with a counter video.
Counter video.
And the question he's asking is this. All the opposition, you are trying to come together. But for him, if it is not Barrow, then who?
Jen attack.
Bomba
Bomba to bomba.
This one is Operation Fire for Fire.
Fire for fire. Instantaneous fire for fire. You don't pass, be careful.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, but Mr. Janet, it's interesting. It's interesting, but I strongly believe somebody says that literature is the portrayal of what's prevailing in society. The movies, the music, you know, and everything, they are all portrayals of our day-to-day lives as Africans. And there is no error if a musician takes to stage and then to sing in a lyrics that critiques government. But
it's not something new.
But yes, we see in Sierra Leone, Nigeria, even in Liberia. But
Fela, is it that?
Fela and Nicolas Kuti.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, from
even in Senegal,
of course,
we used to have. I've just forgot the name of this artist, Uza.
Okay.
You know, at one point he was even arrested. So it's not something new.
It's normal that an artist sings in that manner with constructive critique, but the language has got to be observed. It's very important. You live in a civilized society. You live in a nation of all culture and religious values, and so to speak. So you can actually, Mr. Jenner, I can tell you, excuse me, and it becomes polite. And I can use the same term, excuse me, it becomes rude. If I say excuse me with an exclamation, that's rude. If I say excuse me with a full stop, that's polite. If I say excuse me, it's rude.
It's not what we say that matters. It's how we say it.
You put it. So remember, as an artist, you're a public figure, you're a celebrity, and there are a lot of young people that look up to you, and children learn by seeing and hearing. So whatever you portray in a public space, you might have a very good content, just like I give the analogy of a classroom lecturer who lacks the classroom methodology, and he will be teaching himself without passing the message across to the students. So if you got to encode or prepare your message in a manner that the content remains, but the choice of words is observed to the letter. What you want to achieve remains. You achieve your objective for maybe a constructive critique against the system. Of course, criticism is allowed in a democratic process. It helps government to recognize or acknowledge their lapses and then improve on that. But then the language is what I have my reservation about on the side of Onyanchu.
I think so many people have, they share similar
sentiment
with you. Yeah. And people even believe that there are certain portions in the song, which, like you said, if he should have changed the language a little bit, then this music will be here for eternity, right? Yeah. And because you now start mentioning the name of somebody in the clip, and you know, so some people think, okay, you know what, he could have avoided calling that name and then put it in another way around, which all of us will know who you are referring to or who you're talking about.
Of course.
So you will see that this music will be here
for a long time.
For a very long time.
That is a message. In politics, you don't attack the person. You approach the issues and not the personality.
Yeah.
right? Whether music or politics or things of this nature in a political season, you approach the issue, not the personality.
Not the personality.
So name calling was out of it, and I don't support that.
I quite agree with you. And then we are still staying on the politics. When President Barrow launched his manifesto, with all what we have seen, new innovations in our politics. For the first time, we are having a party's manifesto, which you can access online. We've seen that even some of the messages are translated into the local languages. For example, today, if you go to the NPP website, you can listen to the entire manifesto in English, in Mandinka, in Wolof, and not only that, they also have what they call, it's a sort of an AI where, you can ask the president, right, any question, and then, you will have answers. So people are seeing these things, yes, and they have their own app as well, right? We've seen something that is really innovative, on the side of...
that's politics at grade 12 level.
Yeah, to another level.
Not the primary level.
At the same time, also, we've seen a shift with UDP, right?
Yeah.
Because now the UDP leader is also coming all out to explain his 5 points. Let's take a listen.
Presented myself as presidential candidate for the 2026 presidential elections as United Democratic Party's flag bearer. I had assigned myself 4 important agenda to accomplish, if not accomplish all yet, but then to make them progress to a level that no one can deviate from. One of the issues I've taken as a priority area to be dealt with during this one term is the civil service reform. Gambia had been a country where to be a civil servant was the greatest pride. Our civil servants had advised their ministers professionally, and their politicians in those days never took a civil servant's advice as a political advice. It has always been for the good of the country. That is why some countries had come here to understudy how our civil service operates. The independence that the civil service was given is given by the Constitution was adhered to. And I want to promise every civil servant that a UDP government will not really be taking political issues into consideration in the promotion and appointment into the public service. It will be based on merit, competence, and qualifications, not who you know and not how well connected you are. Because after all, governments come and go, but the civil service stays on forever. So a competent, political civil service is what this country deserves. And this is the agenda I assigned myself to implement. A good civil service that can be proud of itself, a civil service that will do things and get job satisfaction, a civil service that does not think that remuneration is the all. They want to have job satisfaction. They want to, their professional advice when given is taken and not amended, set aside or ignored for political convenience. We ask
is Honorable Usainu Dabo, the party leader of the United Democratic Party. Like I mentioned, we have also seen a shift. For the first time, we've seen the party leader coming out to explain his manifesto, to explain his 5 points. And I think this is this is the way that I believe our politicians should follow suit.
Of course.
Because, truly speaking, what we need to hear from our politicians is where they intend to take this country to. Look, we are sick and tired of character assassination. I'm not even interested to know if a particular political party leader is a womanizer. That's not my problem. My problem is, tell me, if we hand over the mantle of this country to you,
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? That is what I want to hear. But not the amount of concubines that you keep.
No.
And, it's so frustrating. It's so tiring.
I know.
It's enough is enough. Let's talk about issues.
I agree with it entirely. Politics has got to be about ideas and not the character assassination.
Not character assassination.
I think when you are comfortable in your skin, you don't look at the next person. Your manifesto has got to be answering the various questions that the Gambian people are asking. So you got to speak to issues and not speak against the next person. What do you bring on the political mortgage market that should be enough to serve as a catalyst for the people of the Republic of the Gambia to entrust you with a mantle of authority to steer the affairs of this nation for the next 5 years come 5th December? And I talk to young Gambians. You look at the Osino Dabo, you look at President Adama Barrow, two different politicians, two different political backgrounds, and you start to fight yourself. And if these people meet themselves, they share pleasantries. They're happy.
They're not,
but
they're
you
not
want
enemies.
Don't kill yourself for politicians. Remember, election did not you, election did not them. Gambia did not theirs. The election comes and goes, but a nation remains. You got a country to protect. You got a country to defend. So let it be about, let the entire political cycle be about ideas and not fight, not a character assassination like you put it.
Yeah.
And the Gambian people should be given the responsibility to scrutinize these parties and their leaders on what they bring on the political mortgage market, and not the issues of session or regional background or cultural background. No, it should be on what does the person bring on the political mortgage market to be able to change the dynamics of this country come 5th December.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
No, in fact, that is the thing. And Michael, I'm going to be very honest to you. I think all the party leaders, the next step is to ensure that there are militants deceased from this act of political or character assassination. Right? Like I said, it's really disturbing, it's frustrating.
Of course.
And
it messes up the political space of the country.
I mean, you are even wasting our time.
Wasting our time. Talk the issues.
You have a platform. Because for me, look, with all the mobilization you have done, the logistics and everything, to come up with a big political rally, and at the end of the day, you cannot tell us
anything
about your programs, about your policies, where you want to take this country.
No.
Seriously? And you will stand there for hours telling me about your opponent? Seriously?
No.
Are we real?
It's funny. A serious country?
We even have serious politicians?
A serious politician would not do that.
Serious politicians will not do that.
You bring hundreds of thousands of people together. You can't share with them your ideas. Why did you bring them together? You spend your time, like you put it, attacking the next person. Share your ideas. Somebody said, sell your market.
Yes, of course.
Sell your market.
Yes, of course. And subsequently, in all our programs, especially now, it is countdown to election. As per our policy, we're not going to air anything that has to do with this character assassination on founded stories.
No.
Enough is enough.
No.
We will provide our platform to any politician who is ready to talk about issues.
With facts and logic.
With facts. With evidence.
Of course. In the absence of that.
If you tell us that you are going to create 100,000 jobs in the next 5 years, tell us how.
The how. I love that. Give us the how.
That's the whole thing.
It has to be measured. It has to be measured. Give us a time frame. Your first 120 days in office. Your first 180 days in office. Your first 90 days in office. Your short-term and long-term plan for the Gambia. Say it to the Gambian people. And the people have got to listen.
Yes, of course.
Scrutinize these people. Any man or woman that should be given the amount of authority to steer the affairs of this nation must be brought to the totality of presidential scrutiny. Scrutinize them.
Okay. Well, the discussions are really going on very nice, but unfortunately, this is where we have to draw the curtain on this particular edition of the Sunrise. We hope that you will join us next Tuesday when we will look at happenings in the country. And of course, it will be more of politics. But we, excuse me, we will also do our level best to try to have the party leader for GEP, that's Gambia, that's the Golden Era Party, to come and shed more light. And hopefully by Tuesday, we'll also have Mamadi Kurang, who will join the show to give us an explanation as to some of the findings concerning the voter registrations that is being conducted by the IEC, because now most of the UDP people are all over this country, and they're unearthing a lot of what looked like
an error.
An error. I'll not say discrepancies or whatever, but that looks like an error.
Yes.
And then what needs to be done in order to rectify all those things. So hopefully, we'll see you. Mika?
It's been a beautiful experience sitting here. I'll leave you with this. A cat that thinks about a future does not eat a pregnant rat. If you kill a pregnant rat, you don't have food for the next 2-3 months. Why don't you be patient-minded until it puts to bed so that those younger one grows, so that you have